traditionally the concept of warfare was very much different of what we are having at the moment. Traditionally, when somebody used to talk about the war, we would instantly think of tanks rolling over the humans, and then a battlefield where soldiers are fighting with each other, and then there are aircrafts which are bombing. Don't do this, stop doing this, everyone. Aircrafts which are bombing on the countries and everything, whatever they are in their jurisdiction and whatever they can, they are just destroying everything. Traditionally, this used to be the warfare concept, right? And why exactly they used to go in war? To achieve their state interest. Always remember that whatever states do, they do to fulfill their state interest, right? Whatever the interests are, they will always pursue everything to achieve those interests. We have an example of Taiwan, let's say. What is the interest of Taiwan? Anyone? No. No. Power politics, no, it's a very generalized concept and it is everywhere. What I am asking is, what do you think can be the concept behind Taiwan to push back China? To safeguard, to safeguard their sea routes, to safeguard their sea lanes. Okay. And do you think they are not sovereign as of yet? You think that some part of their territory has been occupied by China. So the basic thing could be deduced as Taiwan wants to intact their integrity, borders, and you can say that China, they want to push back China, right? They want to just, have an independent, autonomous government, or their trade or anything which cannot have any sort of influence of China. That is their state interest. And to pursue and to achieve that state interest, they are doing everything. What exactly they are doing? They are having alliances with West, and US is giving them guarantees, constant guarantees that yes, we will protect you at every cost, right? Now let's get back to Europe. What is the most prominent conflict at the moment in Europe? What's going on? Ukraine-Russia war, right? Which Russia call it as a special military operation, right? What do you think is an objective of Russia, and what do you think is an objective of Ukraine to get into this conflict?
यूक्रेन नेटो का मेंबर बनना चाहता था, लेकिन रशिया को ये मंजूर नहीं कि उसके बॉर्डर पर बिल्कुल सामने कोई ऐसा मुल्क हो जिसमें जो नेटो का मेंबर हो।
Right.
तो अभी रशिया ये चाह रहा है कि वो आदि मुल्क को ऑक्युपाई करके उसको एक अलग स्टेट बना दे, ताकि एक बफर जोन हो नेटो और रशिया के बीच में।
Yes, you are absolutely right. You are correct. What he's saying is that Ukraine wants to have a membership of NATO for some reasons, and then Russia thought that it is attack on their sovereignty, because having a NATO membership could actually give a safe passage to NATO members onto the borders of, onto the very closer territories of Russia, right? Which is not acceptable for Russia. Russia jealously guards its borders and its territories, right? So that was one reason, one very prominent reason due to which Russia has initiated this specialized operation in Ukraine. But then there was this one thing that Russia wants to occupy some of the parts of Ukraine. Do you think that Russia is not capable of occupying any part of any country as of yet? I'm just saying, like, not any country in a way that countries which are sharing borders with that, and you should know that Ukraine was a part of Soviet Union. So do you think it is a very difficult thing, and even after a year they are not being able to achieve it, so it's a lacking on Russia's part? ऑयल की वजह से, माइनिंग एंड मिनरल्स की वजह से? रशिया और यूक्रेन का कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो है वो ऑयल और माइनिंग और मिनरल्स की वजह से चल रहा है? No. The question was, what is the objective of Ukraine to become a member of NATO, and what was the reason of Russia to go against it?
बन जाता है तो उनको एक टेरिटरी मिल जाएगी यूएस को इंटरवेन कर देंगे रशिया के अंदर। हालांकि
यूएस तो है ही नहीं, इट्स नेटो,
की इंटरवेंशन
इट्स नेटो।
बट इनडायरेक्टली हम कह सकते हैं कि यूएस की इंटरवेंशन वहाँ पे इजी हो जाएगी जो रशिया के अंदर, जो कि वो इजीली अटैक कर सकता है जब वो यूक्रेन पार्ट बन जाएगा नेटो का।
You think that US can attack Russia if they come closer to Russia?
The reason to be a member of NATO is अगर आप देखेंगे 2014 में
Hmm.
इन्वेट किया था रशिया ने some part of one sixth district यूक्रेन के because of the water resources। तो उस वजह से यूक्रेन feels the insecurity in future Russia can invade us। That's why Ukraine needs to be the ally of NATO, and the Russia didn't want to be a part of NATO as a neighbor state। On other hand, Poland is also going to be a member of NATO, but this is the complex situation right now, and this is the old war actually among NATO and Russia। ये अगर देखा जाए 1949 में जब वार्सा पैक्ट बना था उस टाइम भी इसी बात को रेजिस्ट करने के लिए एक एग्रीमेंट हुआ था नेटो और रशिया के दरमियान कि नेटो एक्सपेंशन नहीं होंगे। इस वजह से वार्सा पैक्ट डिले हो गया था और खत्म हो चुका था, और अभी नेटो की एक्सपेंशन होती जा रही है। तो दिस इज द वायलेशन ऑफ ट्रीटीज ऑन द इंटरनेशनल लेवल, एंड रशिया's stance is to follow the treaties and don't violate the rules of
Which have been already devised, right?
yes।
Right. Okay. I noted your take about it. What was the question is how exactly what was the reason behind Russia-Ukraine conflict? Say yeah. So the answer was embedded in my previous statement that states try to pursue and achieve their state interest at their fullest, right? Because of those things, to gain those objectives, basically states try to go to lengths. ठीक हो गया? They try to gain their objectives. That is why they go to the lengths, right? And one of the thing can be a war, right? They used to go in past. They used to go in full conventional warfare where battlefield was set and the soldiers were there and everything. But now, since we have other tools and other means of warfare, so states are using those means. States are using those means and resources to inflict harm to their adversaries, and the objective is remain the same, to gain their state interest, right? To gain the fullest of whatever they are trying to achieve. What is the state interest of Pakistan? Basic state interest of Pakistan. Anyone? पाकिस्तान का स्टेट इंटरेस्ट आपको क्या लगता है, क्या है, क्या होगा?
फिर पाकिस्तान के इंटरेस्ट ये होंगे कि वो मुख्तलिफ मुल्कों से अपना
जोर से
मुख्तलिफ मुल्कों से ट्रेड वगैरह करे और अपनी इकोनॉमी को बिल्डअप करे,
मुख्तलिफ लोगों से मुख्तलिफ मुल्कों के साथ ट्रेड करे और अपनी इकोनॉमी को स्टेबल करे। अच्छा, आप?
Ma'am, to have good relationship with
To have good relations with other countries and
especially with neighboring countries.
especially with regional neighboring countries.
Because
okay?
if we have to stabilize our economy, so we must have to stabilize our relations with our neighboring countries to enhance the trade. और जो हमारी neighboring countries और पाकिस्तान की जो geographical location है वो ऐसी है कि हम easily सेंट्रल एशिया तक एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, यूरोप तक एक्सेस कर सकते हैं और अफ्रीका तक भी एक्सेस कर सकते हैं।
हम सेंट्रल एशिया तक एक्सेस कर सकते हैं?
यस मैम, बाय द अफगानिस्तान। एंड मैम सेकेंड इज़ टू जो पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी है हमारे पास, जो डेमोक्रेसी उसको उसी तरह से प्रैक्टिस किया जाए जिस तरह से वो है। और अगर पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी होगी और मींस के हम अगर पॉलिसीज़ बनती हैं और सेम पॉलिसीज़ को ही फॉलो किया जाए एक लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए, जिस तरह हम कंपेयर करें इंडिया के साथ, तो इंडिया की अभी जो कंडीशन है 10 साल पहले देखते हैं तो वो काफ़ी वर्स थी। इसके पीछे यही है कि अभी उनके पास जो पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी आई है उसका मेन रीज़न यही है कि अभी जिस तरह से वो इन्हेंस कर रहे हैं उसके पीछे पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी है कि 10 साल से अगर एक बंदा बैठा हुआ है और वो बैठकर एक पॉलिसीज़ बनाया जा रहा है तो उसको फॉलो भी कर रहा है।
राइट, आई गेट इट।
Pakistan being a sovereign state, its interests are basically to maintain its sovereignty, external and internal, from both
That
affairs.
is the most correct. That is the most correct answer. Basically, being a country, Pakistan wants to protect its territorial integrity and its sovereignty. That is the basic and foundation state interest ना. आपकी sovereignty क्या है कि आपका जो एक आपकी शनाख्त है, आपकी independence है, that should be intact. सही है? Whatever comes, that comes after that very basic thing. अगर आपके पास sovereignty नहीं है, अगर आपके पास वो freedom नहीं है, वो autonomy नहीं है, how exactly you can pursue good relations with neighboring countries, let's say, how exactly you can facilitate trade, how exactly you can achieve other means, other objectives without having this independence, without exercising the sovereignty, without having this thing that, you know, you are a sovereign country, you are a free country, you can actually go about your own decisions, you can make your own policies, you can try your level best to flourish the lives of your people. How exactly you can do that? You cannot do that, right? जब तक आपके पास एक अथॉरिटी ना हो, आप इन सिंपल वे, सोवरेनिटी इज एन अथॉरिटी जिसके ऊपर आपको कोई कहीं से आपके डिसीजन के ऊपर कोई आपको इन्फ्लुएंस ना करे, कहीं पे कोई आपके किसी भी पॉलिसी को वायलेट ना करे, आपकी टेरिटोरियल इंटेग्रिटी जो है वो इंटैक्ट रहे, आपके बॉर्डर्स के अंदर कोई ना आए. बॉर्डर वायलेशंस होती है ना, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स वी सी के सीज फायर के ऊपर देयर हैज बीन so and so clashes between Pakistan and India and between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and then there was this recent attempt of violation as well. What was that? Can somebody remind me of that?
Pakistan and
Yes,
Iran.
very good, very nice. Pakistan and Iran. What Iran has done?
Iran has fired missiles in our territory, and they had caused that they fired on the terrorists.
Right, exactly. And what are the other instances where Pakistan's territorial integrity was questioned or violated?
जैसे कि ड्रोन हमले पहले होते थे हमारे ऊपर, वो स्टॉप कर दी गई अभी, तो वो
ड्रोन, पहले ड्रोन अटैक्स हुआ करते थे,
उनको स्टॉप, वो भी सॉवरेनिटी पे एक क्वेश्चन था.
right? Our basic and fundamental state interest is to have or protect our sovereignty. Now, since the 21st century has enabled us to connect with each other by having this concept of globalization, there is this more and more interconnectedness with everything, be it communications, be it media, be it anything. People are very much connected, countries are very much connected, regions are very much connected. You can literally, you know, travel anywhere on the blink of eye, in real letter and spirit, right? So that connectivity, although that has enabled us to achieve so many good things and positive prospects in terms of economy, in terms of knowledge, impartation of knowledge, in terms of gaining other valuable things in our life, it has also unleashed some of the very deadly means as well, which could be inflict on adversaries on the contrary of war. Say, we are not going into the direct war these days. We are actually using those means and those tools to inflict harm upon our enemies. What are those means and what are those things? What are those tools which are being used widely to harm the enemy or the adversary or to the countries? So you need to know there are multiple domains through which we can inflict. We are inflicting. We means the people of this earth, the international arena, the stakeholders, the countries, everyone, right? There are certain rules, there are certain meanings, and through which the conflict has been carrying out in different dimensions. One is cyber attack, more and more connectivity, more and more communication, and then you have somebody, some countries, some hackers attacking on your government official websites. They are extracting the data, whichever you have, and then they are misusing that data against you. And then they are misusing that data to demand ransom or some other things, right? To actually achieve some of their gains, whatever they have, whatever they want to achieve. Be it an evil thing, of course, most of the time it's evil, but yeah, that's one thing. Then proxies, right? You create a buffer zone, you create a space where you are not directly involved in the conflict, but you are actually encouraging a third party to fight that conflict on behalf of you, right? On your behalf, on behalf of your country. So the recent conflict which we were having with Iran, what that indicated, that was a prime example that third parties were involved on behalf of both countries, and then they were conducting war. I mean, not the war, full scale war, but they were conducting the proxy wars, and they were conducting those terrorist activities to inflict harm to each other, right? Am I making sense to you? Are you understanding what exactly I'm trying to tell you? Right? What other means can you suggest, in your opinion, are the deadliest or are in right now in play?
हाइड्रालिक वार कह सकते हैं कि पानी वाली जंग, जैसे कश्मीर इशू चल रहा है.
No, that's not the question. The question is, so you see there is this one cyber warfare.
साइबर वारफेयर.
And then you see one hybrid warfare. Every one of us have heard of or read somewhere the concept of hybrid warfare, which is actually a mixture of conventional tactics and non-conventional or modern tactics, right? Which we use to inflict harm on our adversary, right? Then cyber, hybrid, and then there is this fifth generation warfare as well, right? Can somebody tell me what's the fifth generation warfare? Media. Propaganda media is one of the tool of fifth generation warfare, where you actually try to win the hearts and minds of the adversaries' countrymen, right? You try to convince them that the country where you are living, where those people are living, is not habitable or is not very much favorable for those people, and then they try to create rifts between the organizations of those countries or the statecraft and the people of that very country, right? As I mentioned earlier, that India has a history of fabricating such incidents to misuse them in their favor. Sahi hai? So Pulwama attack was one such incident, and then there was this Pathankot incident as well, and then there was other Mumbai, and then there were other events, so and so. Like the history is actually full of these events where India has done something by their insiders, by their own people, using their own people, and then they have shifted the blame to Pakistan so that they can malign Pakistan, so that they can misuse that very event against Pakistan, and they can actually use this tactic to gain vote bank, because we are seeing that India is highly extreme. They are going to the extremes against minorities, against Muslims, against everyone. They are trying to impose this Akhand Bharat ideology on the people of India without their consent. And they are cultivating this extreme concept, this extreme ideology in them, on their premise that, you know, the people of those very regions, the people who are actually buying that ideology, and they are killing other people, they are killing even their neighbors. Anyone who they see that this is a Muslim person, they kill him or her, and they misuse or they abuse them, right? We are seeing so much, and then this is even against Sikhs as well. We are seeing that there is this Khalistan movement going on, right? And then there was this movement of farmers going on, because most of the bread basket of India, the Punjab, is actually held by Sikhs, right? So they are not giving them the proper facilities which they want, and then they are having this discriminatory policies against those very Sikhs, right? So the polarized ideology of Indian political parties. So this is a precedent that they create some of the event, and then they try to navigate it against Pakistan. There was this incident. There are reports. You should research. Basically, you guys should research about it. See, the main concept of essay or cracking any paper is having the basic knowledge and then specialize that knowledge. Like you have the basic concept, basic understanding of that very thing, and then you should have facts and figures, some facts and figures on your fingers to quote in that particular paper, right? So it begins with the basic concept of anything we are talking about, whether it is economy, whether it is globalization, whether it is the concept of security, whether it is hybrid warfare, whether it is international power dynamics, whatever it is, whether it is nuclear politics, you should have the basic understanding. The student who is appearing in CSS examination, they must have the basic understanding of all those concepts which are mentioned in the outline. The very reason to ask you to go through that very outline was to actually give you an idea that what exactly you are going to study, what exactly you are going to face, what exactly you should study about to achieve the results which you want to in these particular examinations. We have discussed the contemporary conflicts, the contemporary current affairs issues right here in this class. Do you really think that everything which we have discussed so far, whether that was a Ukraine conflict, whether that was a Taiwan conflict, whether that was Pakistan's regional dynamics, security, anything, do you really think that it can impact the economy some way or other? Yes, absolutely. They are impacting the economy one way or other. Although not that much of amount is being used as we or country is used to invest in the proper battlefield conventional warfares, but still the means, the modern means are still require some sort of investment. I would say rather a very hefty investment, right? It's just that the battlefield, the dimensions of battlefield are very much transparent right now. We know what enemy intends to do with ourselves, and enemy knows that what will be our next move. So it is very much tricky to have something in between those parallel lines, to being able to achieve our goal in between those parallel lines, in parallel dimensions. Economy is a very fundamental factor. If you want to cripple down any country, if you want to break down any country, just attack on their economy. Make their economy, just maybe destroy that, or maybe just destruct that economy. Attrition of that economy, that is the one thing which people are using, the countries are using to achieve their objectives. So yeah, everything basically linked with the economy. Everything is linked with the economy. Then there comes some of the theories of IR as well, some of the theories of international relations, which actually gives you the very reflection of how it was visualized decades ago or maybe centuries ago, and how it has been utilized by countries right now, how it has been used by stakeholders so far. Are you able to write an essay now? Do you think that you guys have enough knowledge to write an essay on this particular topic right now? So the concept of warfare, we have discussed the concept of warfare, right? And then what were the goals and objectives of war? We have discussed that as well. And then we actually discussed the examples. The Arab West oil embargo examples and the Yom Kippur examples were the old ones. They were somewhere in 90s and 60s and 70s, where Arab countries decided not to export the oil sources to West, right? Which has created an inflation and which has actually created economic crunch in America mostly, right? And then there was this Yom Kippur, there was this deal where countries were not agreeing or not going about the legal agreements and everything. And then Europe, they have put sanctions on Russia because of Ukraine, and before for Crimean War as well, and others. And then we have this US-China trade war, recent US-China trade war, which is basically because of having more rare earth materials. Are you guys aware of what rare earth materials are? Rare earth materials.
Something like precious metal.
Mars की soil. No, it's not. I'm joking. Rare earth materials वो होते हैं जो basically scars होते हैं, और why not you guys just write it at least. Just write what I'm talking about. You should research about it. You should read about it. All those things which I have mentioned, you should read more about it. The culmination point of these concepts, see, whatever is happening, the culmination and the impact would always be on your economy, right? And then there will be non-state actors, and then there will be very influential stakeholders which will somehow try to gain, who will try to gain their own objectives to fulfill their own interests on the behest of those international powers which really want to use them in their favor and against so many countries. All of us, we can have an idea about it, right? Is there any example right now? ऐसे बहुत से stakeholders हैं, ऐसी बहुत सी directly involved world powers हैं जो कि आपकी country को मजबूर करती हैं कि उनके objectives को आप पूरा करें somehow, ठीक है? और वो जो है वो on the cost of causing harm to their very countrymen. ऐसा होता है कि अवाम को नुकसान पहुंचा के they try to get the favor from that very country, that very particular country. हम क्या कोई ऐसी एग्जाम्पल देख रहे हैं अभी जो हमारे साथ ऐसी हो रही है इन पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ पाकिस्तान? ये जो अभी हालात हैं, जैसे हमारी सिक्योरिटी को भी इतने इश्यूज हैं, आप अभी सिर्फ एक सिटी में देख लें कि आपकी सिक्योरिटी को भी इश्यूज हैं, इन्फ्लेशन इतनी राइज हो गई है, सबको प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है ना, इकनॉमी को इतना ज़्यादा, मुल्क जो है वो कर्जे में डूबे जा रहा है, मज़ीद इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, हमारे पास सैलरीज़ के लिए जो है वो हमारे पास पीछे कैपिटल नहीं है. क्या सोचते हैं आप कि क्यों है ये?
हमारी इकोनॉमी इतनी स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं है और हमारे जो पॉलिटिक्स लीडर है वो मतलब कि गवर्नमेंट को सही तरह से रन नहीं कर रहे.
The government is not playing their part.
जामिन
और
that's it.
बस इसके अलावा और कोई सोच नहीं है. आप बताइए.
टैक्स कलेक्शन का बहुत बड़ा इशू है यहाँ पर. टैक्स कलेक्शन जो अगर हो जाए तो ये सारी चीज़ें काफ़ी हद तक बेहतर हो सकती है.
टैक्स कलेक्शन कैन वन ऑफ द वे आउट,
हाँ,
जिसकी वजह से इकानमी बेहतर हो सकती है.
इकोनॉमी बेहतर हो सकती है क्योंकि हमें IMF के पास हमें जाना पड़ता है, उनकी डिमांड्स पूरी करनी पड़ती है, और करप्शन इतनी है, रिफॉर्म्स नहीं है. रिफॉर्म्स अगर होते हैं तो इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं होते. बस ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं.
Yes, you are right. Do you want to say anything about it?
पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी है.
Political stability is one of the way out.
यस मैडम, इसकी वजह से जो है ना पाकिस्तान जो आगे नहीं बढ़ पा रहा, क्योंकि ये इधर ही उलझे हुए हैं. इसीलिए
You think that the global powers, they are actually orchestrating things or scenarios where Pakistan is entangled in, or maybe is just so much involved in those particular scenarios so that it would not pay attention to its core ideas or core objectives, due to which we are suffering. The people are suffering, the economy is suffering, and we are not being able to achieve the status of a stable or security-wise good country. That's what you are saying?
यस मैडम.
Right. Okay. Thank you so very much for your perspective.
सबसे बड़ा ये रीज़न है कि हमारे मुल्क में करप्शन है. अगर करप्शन ना होती तो हमारा मुल्क बहुत सारी तरक्कियां करता. अभी जितनी बजट आती है हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, हमारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उसकी बजट है 5 करोड़, ऐसे समझ लो.
Where are you from?
आई एम फ्रॉम नौशेरा फिरोज.
Nashero Feroz?
यस मैम,
Right.
नौशेरा फिरोज. हेल्थ की बजट है ये 5 करोड़, तो उसमें मैम बहुत सारी करप्शन हो जाती है.
जैसे IMF हमें लोन देता है तो वो हमें अपने शिकंजे में फंसाता है. अगर हम उनके कर्जदार होंगे तो हम उनके खिलाफ कोई स्टेप कभी नहीं लेंगे, क्योंकि वो हमसे रिकवरी मांगेगा और हम दे नहीं सकते
Because we are dependent upon
ऑन
them.
देम. और एक ऐसी मिसाल ये भी है कि अमेरिका सऊदी अरबिया से तेल लेता है और उनको सिक्योरिटी और वेपन फराहम करता है, तो सऊदी अरबिया भी उनके खिलाफ कोई एक्शन नहीं ले सकता, और वो अपने मिनरल उनको यूज़ करने दे रहा है.
Right.
तो इसके ये दो मिसाल हैं।
Interdependencies are created by the globalization, the concept of globalization, right?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Right. Okay, I got your point. Thank you.
करप्शन को रिड्यूस करके हम अपनी इकोनॉमी अच्छी कर सकते हैं।
That's a
और
very
एक
general.
और ये कि हम जो हमारे कंट्री में रिसोर्सेज मिनरल्स हैं उनको हम खुद से मतलब हम उसे खुद से करें, मतलब बाहर के लोगों को नहीं कहें आके कि आप हमारी जो भी natural
Mineral
resources
extraction
हैं,
है, that should
जी,
be,
जी,
or anything should be indigenized.
जी जी
Or skilled labor, basically we need a skilled labor, a labor which could be utilized abroad as well, and somebody who knows that how you should work in the environment where multi ethnicities or multilingual people are working, and how you should be act professional. That's skilled labor, and you should be knowing the basic or modern skills which are required outside country. That's how you can help Pakistan, by sending remittances and by being a very good skilled labor. That's what you are saying,
yes.
that we should utilize the skilled labor thing. We should actually provide skills to the people, and then we should set them abroad
yes,
somehow, so they can actually contribute in the economy of Pakistan, in the progress or economy of Pakistan. Ma'am.
हम लोग टेक्नोलॉजी इंटीग्रेशन करवा सकते हैं अपनी
Very
education
nice.
में।
Technological integration. None of you has actually pointed out this. The technological integration in the fields and areas, or you can say the statecraft, can actually bring about a lot of progress. Why? Because you should note it down. Technology brings transparency, right? Technology brings transparency, so the integration of technology on the or the integration of modern practices, good practices, into our daily affairs or our bureaucratic matters, that could be one way of having an improved economy. Because when you have everything available on the app, when you can do anything, when you can file your taxation on via app, or when you can actually have all the record available on the app, I think that would be very good for having a record that what you have done, and then on the part of government, that how government should incentivize that margin or that percentage which you have submitted to the government for the greater good. SAF? Yes. And this technological integration can be applied in every field, be it education, be it health, be it security, be it daily community policing. Wherever you say, wherever you name it, which field you name it, the integration of technology, the having the concept of having modern practices, or modern you can say the concept of having modern or digital practices in our daily lives can actually improve our overall lifestyle. It can save our time, it can save our efforts, it can save our money, and it can actually result in a very progressive picture for future as well. Like, we will be able to contribute more meaningfully, because we will be having this peace of mind. We won't be thinking of, oh, I have this deadline, I have to go to the bank, I have to submit my bill, electricity bill, I have to, stand there in scorching heat, and I have to wait in a long queue, and then this much time I have to dedicate, and I have to literally commute to that place. These are all the factors now which actually affect our mental health as well. So imagine if you have everything available on one tap, how peaceful you could be. And when you have peace, mental peace, how productive you could be, how meaningful contribution you could give to anything, right? That is very good thing. Now, some of the people have indicated that corruption is the mother of all evil in Pakistan or everywhere, let's say. Corruption is not confined to the finances or of embezzlement of money, right? When you came in this class, 15 students were the first one who were attending this class. and I can say like 20 or 22 of them, like the entire class, I'm not sure the number. How many of you are sitting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30, 1, 2, 3, 33, right? 33 students are here, and maybe only five students have had an idea of what CSS syllabus is or what CSS examination is. So that was the corruption on your part as well, my dear. Every one of us is very much corrupt. Every one of us is a part of problem, because we are not doing what has been assigned to us. हमें जो इतना सा हमारा रोल दिया गया है, जो इतना सा पार्ट था ना, वो ये था, आपको ये स्केड्यूल कितने दिन पहले मिला था? 1 हफ्ते पहले मिला था, 1 हफ्ते पहले मिला था, हाँ? और उस स्केड्यूल में मेरे नाम के आगे वो पूरा टॉपिक लिखा हुआ था कि ये वाला टॉपिक जो है वो क्लास में डिस्कस होना है. Tell me how many of you have gone through that? Raise your hand. आपको 1 हफ्ते पहले स्केड्यूल मिला था. Please tell me कि आप में से कितने लोगों ने इस टॉपिक के बारे में पढ़ा? That's 1 out of 33. 1 out of 33. Now, do you have any idea how corrupt you are? You are corrupt. You are very much corrupt. Because you were here, you were already planning to take this class. You were already told what will be the guiding principle, what will be the subject which you are going to study, and still you choose not to study, not to read about that, not to research about that. Did you play your part to pursue your goal, to pursue your ambition? You cannot do even the tiniest thing, and you are aspiring to become a bureaucrat and to actually resolve your nation's problem. No, my dear, I'm sorry, you cannot do this. With this attitude, you cannot do that. Let me write it somewhere and you can keep it with you for life. It is very easy to blame people. It is very easy to blame governments. It is very easy to, blame organizations for everything, for every misery, for every situation which we are going through. But it is very difficult to actually self-analysis, which bring us to this realization that we are very much wrong and we are at par with those very people whom we are blaming. You guys did not even try to go through the syllabus of that very CSS examinations, due to which you are very much here. Why? Do you think that anyone who is teaching here, the people who are coming here, the faculty, they don't have families? They are ample of time to spend or basically stand here in so many conditions and, give you everything, give their time, give their efforts, give their somehow finances and so and so. You think we are landlords or something? And we are maybe free people? We don't have anything, we don't have lives, we don't have schedules. What was the reason to engage with you in this debate, to engage with you about this topic, to have your opinion, to actually give you this sense that you can think about things. It is very much connected with your daily life, and it is very much important to think before appearing in examinations. Until unless you are not honest with your own selves, until unless you don't apply discipline in your life, you are not going to have anything in your life. You are not going to achieve any objective in your life. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to practice self-discipline. You have to fulfill the basic criteria, basic prerequisites. This was your goal, right? you came here because you wanted to learn something and you wanted to step into some direction, right? You decided not to fulfill that very first condition before coming here, which is very much important, which is necessary to appear in the exam or to, you know, step ahead. Is it my fault? Is it your parents' fault? Is it somebody else's fault that you decided not to study about the subject which you have been informed about a week ago? Do you think that this time can come back to your life? It can add back to your life? And you are here because I assume that you really want to do something for yourself and for your family before the country or before the countrymen. In next class, I will expect that you will be able to write an essay, not the ChatGPT or Gemini based essay. आपने एक ऐसे लिखना है जो कि मैं उसी वक्त एक क्लास में टॉपिक दूंगी आपको, और आपने वो ऐसे लिखकर मुझे बताना है, दिखाना है. उसके अंदर फैक्ट्स भी होने चाहिए, स्टैटिस्टिकल डेटा भी होना चाहिए और बेसिक नॉलेज भी होनी चाहिए. और वो पास्ट के 2-3 जो पेपर्स इंग्लिश ऐसे के आए उनमें से कोई एक टॉपिक हो सकता है. Wish you best of luck. Thank you so very much for your time and efforts. Thank you so very much.